Okay, please silence your phones again. And Mr. Secretary, would you call the roll?
Vice President Robinson?
Here.
Secretary Allen? Here. Treasurer Narden? Present. Director Cordelli?
Here.
Director Vaquero?
Here.
Down there. Director Walker?
Present.
And President Haggerty is available on the phone. Mr. Vice President, you have a quorum.
We'll call the meeting to order. Please rise to the flag that we have there today. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I need a motion to approve the July 10th board meeting minutes. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any additions or corrections? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, manager's report.
All right, good morning. All right, so happy to see so many of you here today, and I wish I could say I thought you were all here to hear my report, but I know you're all here for the alligator guy, so I'll try to get through this as quick as we can so we can get to the fun stuff. As usual, we'll start with pattern and coverage update here. So final inspections are complete for all of the Andovers, Bedfords, Dorchesters, Fairfields, Gloucesters, and Cambridge HI&J. Right now, Knowles 1 and Cambridge A are in progress. Once those two associations are completed and we have an idea of how many weeks it took them to get through that, then we'll be able to put out a schedule for the rest of the Knowles and the rest of the Cambridges to finish up there in section 1. All of the audits, the field audits, are complete for the entire community. I know we still have 2 sections in the back that we're waiting on their pricing. So now that the field audits are complete, we're just waiting for the reports to come in, and as soon as we have those, we'll have you guys in to go over what it looks like for you guys. A couple of project updates. The light up crosswalks that we mentioned at the last meeting have been ordered. They should be here in about 2 to 3 weeks. We're going to install those, I believe, at the crosswalk that's right there by Falcon Watch. That's one of our most busiest crosswalks. We're going to see how they work out, and if successful, then we'll order some more. Also, we're excited to tell you that our location has been selected for a cell tower. This cell tower would be installed in the back of the property near the garden club. It's contained in a 60 by 60 area. It's a monopole type tower, which is what you see in the photo here. And then this will not only bring in income, it'll be a minimum of $1,200 a month that'll come into the community, up to $5,000 a month, depending on how many carriers want to attach to the towers there. And then we're excited here, this is really going to help improve the cellular communications throughout the property, which will really help our irrigation guys who use the tablets and Wi-Fi to connect to your irrigation inspections and work orders and everything they do, so that should help them out. Another project update were the recharge wells that we drilled in Lyndhurst and Southampton. These are pretty massive undertakings, as you can see from the videos that we have here. And we're happy to say that these were done and installed in 2 weeks and without any incident. And for those of you who may not be familiar with what a recharge well is, what this does is when after an irrigation cycle and the water levels in the pond have dropped to a certain level, that recharge well kicks on and it pulls the water from the aquifer and refills the pond. This works very similar to like the float switch that you have in the back of your toilet. But these are essential. Without these wells, we wouldn't be able to irrigate. I believe that's 4 associations that would have been affected. And on to Hurricane Debbie. We were fortunate to have come out relatively unscathed from the storm. While we did experience some debris and downed trees on the closed golf courses and the main roadways and common areas, they were all cleaned up pretty quickly. Although we do still have some trees and debris to get off of the golf courses because those are a pretty massive area there, and we do have a contractor that is continuing to work on getting that cleaned up. Also, despite the significant rainfall, depending on your source, it was anywhere from 12 to 15 inches of rain that we had in a 48-hour period, which is just a massive amount of rain. We are very happy that although we were holding water in many areas, almost all of it went down within 24 hours, which we believe served as an excellent test to our stormwater structure, which held up really well in this type of event. So we are very excited about that, and of course we'll continue to inspect and maintain our structures so we can keep those functioning as we move forward. Also, I know there was a lot of concern about Gloucester Boulevard in the last year or so. It's been brought up that in a rain event like this that Gloucester Boulevard would likely flood and be underwater. So with this much rain, we were happy to report that Gloucester made it through without any flooding there. And the two areas that I had mentioned earlier that were holding water, that was Tremont and Princeton. Beyond the 24 hours, they continued to hold water there. We did have our drainage engineer come out. Once he was here, he fairly quickly identified where the problem was. It was on one of the Club Link open courses. One of the weirs there was clogged. He and our field manager, Denny, sprang into action. They swam right out into the middle of the pond, into the weir, and began to unclog all of this debris, which is mostly weeds. As the video goes over here, it's showing you the big pile of weeds that they pulled off of it, but as they were pulling it off, more just continued to clog. So that obviously wasn't working, so what they had to do was break a little hole in the weir, and that allowed everything to drain, and within a couple of hours, both of those areas were clear there. Club Link is aware that we broke their weir. They understand why we had to do it, and we'll get that repaired for them as soon as we can. But I would like to take a moment to express our gratitude to Rob from Finn Outdoor. He was the engineer that came out to look at that, as well as Denny, our field manager, for going above and beyond to address this issue. And then with Denny, if he would stand up here, I would like to just take a moment to recognize Denny for his outstanding service to our community. Denny ensured everything on the property was prepared before the storm. He even drove out here in the middle of the storm. In the middle of the storm, I started getting all kinds of pictures of Kings Point, and I'm like, what is going on? Because I had been telling him, after the storm, you better be here. But he was here right in the middle of it. Also, the next day, he was here first thing in the morning, helping to clean up the efforts. And this is just one of the many, many things that Denny does for you guys. He answers all of your emergency calls. In the middle of the night, weekends, it doesn't matter, but he does go above and beyond for you guys, and I thought it was important to take a moment to recognize Denny. So Denny, thank
you. Go to work.
And again, I also want to thank Rob from Finn Outdoor. He was our engineer that came out to look at that clogged issue, as well as Russell Landscaping, who was here first thing that morning, and they got to work immediately clearing all of the roads. And then Russell Landscaping spent that week, since we had to suspend landscape services, they spent the week cleaning up, and that cost the community nothing extra. So that was just included in the normal contract maintenance fees. Now this video here is to show you just how high the creek was. This is the vehicle bridge on Kings Boulevard. You can see we're just a couple of feet here from the top of the bridge, so when we talk about flooding concerns and things that we need to be looking out for, especially with all the new development that's going on, this is one of our big concerns here. So this rain event allowed us to get not only this video, we have several videos of all of the bridges and where all of our problem areas are, so that will hopefully be helpful with us as we move forward with the county to try to help us with some of these issues. All right, and if you have read the latest news of Kings Point, then you were informed that we were told by the Federation that we are not allowed to host Hillsborough County Commissioner Christine Miller, who is the commissioner for your district here in Kings Point, nor the tax collector, Nancy Milan, who had planned to hold an educational government day here in Kings Point. Given the importance of maintaining these strong relationships with our local government, the Master, please know, is fully committed to ensuring that these events take place, whether it's in Kings Point or outside of the gates. We are working diligently on this matter and hope to have positive news to share with you very soon. Now, with my reminders, I usually remind you to watch your speeding and not to feed the alligators, but today I have a few other reminders that I think are necessary. If you look at the top photo here, where the barricades are, that was a picture on McDaniel when we were doing an irrigation repair under the roadway there. That picture is what the street looked like at 5:35 p.m. when the paving crew left. The picture that you see below it there is of a delivery driver approximately 6:30 p.m. that had driven right into the hole, and you can see the majority of the cones and barricades have been removed. Unfortunately, this is not the first time that this has happened. We consistently see that whether it's on a sidewalk or a roadway. You know, we put these barricades and cones here for your safety. Obviously, we don't want your car to fall into a hole like that, so when you see them, I realize it's an inconvenience, but please, you know, take a detour, drive another way, but whatever you do, please leave the cones and barricades in place. They, again, are there for your safety. The next picture that you see here is an interesting one. A reminder that dumping is not allowed on the closed golf courses. This happens quite often, whether it's a couch, bags of trash, furniture, we find stuff all the time. We have to pick it up, which is an expense to you all. You know, it's all your money one way or the other. There are ways to get rid of your things. You can call the Salvation Army. I think Mary and Martha House will pick up, but find a way. There's a guy in Kings Point that does this kind of thing. Please don't dump on the golf course. And I will tell you, when I had a call to pick up a toilet on the golf course, I wasn't surprised, like I said, because this happens all the time. But when Denny went over there to get it and sent me this lovely picture, so just so you know, even if you try to disguise your dumpings as artwork or planter boxes, that's still not allowed. And you know, and again, just a reminder here with these golf courses, we do not own them. We simply lease them. The only thing we have the authority to do is to keep them clean and remove dead trees. But altering their property in any other way is just simply not allowed. And then I am very happy to announce that after approximately 6 months, the Master Association team is now fully staffed. I would like to introduce Susan, who is our newest team member. Susan brings with her a wealth of experience, having worked as an IT and administrative professional for the county's municipalities in Massachusetts. She's been hired for the part-time administrative position, and one of the projects she's excited to be working on is the pattern and coverage project, where she's going to serve as the coordinator for all of the residents. And then I did introduce Cheryl at our last meeting, but for all of those who may not have saw her, Cheryl, if you would please. Cheryl also joined us recently. She has a strong background in IT as well, having worked in the IT department for Disney, and she brings additional expertise in graphic and web design. She was hired as our communications coordinator, and one of her primary roles, which is very important here in Kings Point, is doing the design and artwork for the News of Kings Point, which she has taken off running with. So both Susan and Cheryl are fantastic additions to the team. They've already integrated seamlessly, and we're excited to continue working to better serve you, the residents. And as always here, if you want to know what's going on with Master Association, there's plenty of ways to find out. Our board meetings are held here in the theater the second Wednesday of every month. Our workshops are at 9:30 a.m. in the forum in the 2020 building, and that's where the majority of the discussions and the magic happens. Those are not very well attended right now, so we do highly encourage anyone that wants to stay up to date with what we're going on. Those are a great resource. You don't have to come to every one, but if you came in every once in a while, that would be great. We also have the President's Roundtables, which are held the last Wednesday of each month at 2 p.m., and that gives you an opportunity to meet, not one-on-one, but in a more intimate setting with a board member. We have a maximum of 12 people, and there's no agenda. It's open for you just to ask your questions and get help with anything that you need there. And then, of course, we encourage you follow us on Facebook, encourage your neighbors, because we are getting more active on there and have the ability to push out communications to you in real time. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Shonda. I might add that we have not finalized the lease yet on the cell tower. There's still some things that need to be worked out. I am in favor of making it look like a tree, so that it doesn't really maybe look ugly to some people. There's a lot of those around the country. I know when I was out in Phoenix, I'm driving down the road and I'm saying, what's that ugly look? I thought it was ugly, an ugly tree, but then it turned out to be a cell tower that looked like a tree. So it's ugly, but it's not as ugly as just the pole sticking up in the air. So we're still working on that. And I might add that the additional antennas that go on this cell tower, our take of the income is 40%. I mean, we were actually, you know, we're thinking 5 or 10%, but when the guy says 40%, you know, our ears perked up again. So that's a substantial amount of money. Treasurer Jane Harden, please. Shauna gave me my statement for the Volunteer of the Month. It's a good thing I have progressive bifocals. Sandy Collins is our Volunteer of the Month for August of 2024. We are pleased to recognize Sandy as our Volunteer of this month. Since moving to Kings Point from Kansas City, Missouri in 2016, Sandy has been an active and dedicated member of the Oakley Green Association. She began her volunteer journey as a communication chair, where she initiated and helped implement the association website, which she continues to administer. Her commitment to the community is evident in her roles as a landscape POC, liaison to the Rules and Regulation Committee, and currently the Secretary and Treasurer of the Board of Directors. Beyond Oakley Green, Sandy is a vital member of the Kings Point Master Strategic Planning Committee and the Federation Finance Committee. She also serves as a board member in the Greater Sun City Center Beautification Committee. Her dedication extends to the broader community where she has volunteered alongside other Kings Point residents at the Strass Center, ensuring the best audience experience. Sandy's commitment to the service is rooted in her extensive volunteer experience prior to moving to Kings Point. She served on the board of the Heartland Honor Flight in Kansas City and was enthusiastic USO-style shows to veterans in the Midwest. Her professional career in long-term health care also provides numerous opportunities to volunteer and enhance the lives and committees of others. Sandy believes that volunteering not only benefits others, but also immensely enriches her life. Volunteering is a gift. This is a quote. Volunteering is a gift you have to give to yourself. And she says, encapsulating her philosophy of service. Congratulations, Sandy Collins. alligator trapper. Where are you? There you are.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I want to congratulate this young lady here, this volunteer. I'm on several boards, a pension board, and y'all are all retired here. I advise you to find something to do, because I see I'm on a board that's 2,500 members retired. I see people die within a month or 2 months because they go and sit and don't do anything. So that makes us have more money in the pension, but that's not a way we want to go. So I encourage everybody, when you retire, find something to keep your body active. I hate a microphone. My name's Rob Updegrove. I'm a nuisance alligator trapper, and this is
Julie Harder. We've been serving Sun City. I just was sitting back there looking at some numbers at a Treasury report. You were like all over, girl. Anyway, we've been serving Sun City for over 30 years, so thank y'all for everything that you do for us. We appreciate it. As Rob said, we're nuisance alligator trappers for the state. Anybody can call in an alligator if you feel like it's threatening you and you can't get out and enjoy your backyard or anything, but you guys have to go through your association office, mainly what, Kathy, where are you at? She in here? There you are. Oh, sorry, honey. So if you see an alligator that you don't have to call it in right away. Give it a few days. They're moving around the water. You've seen them on TV. We're out all the time getting them out of little ditches. The smaller ones, especially right now, they're not heavy enough to handle their weight, so they get swept up with the waters and everything else. So give him a couple days. He's just looking. He's probably just as scared of him as you are of him, so just give him a couple days. He'll probably move away. If he doesn't, reach out to Kathy, let her check it out, and then she'll know what to do after that. Yes, sir.
all right, guys. What you see over here to the left, this is a little alligator, and the reason he's crawling around in the cab of the truck is because he's on his way to be relocated somewhere. Any alligator under 4 foot, we relocate to a place way away from where we're at. They have a homing device. They will come back, so we take them way away and put them, usually, if I catch it down here, it goes to probably a creek that feeds into Alafai River. This gator up here on the right, Julie's husband caught this gator, the very top one. This is his head right here, all right? Back in the day, there was no place for them alligators to go. He tried to get that alligator to go to amusement or somewhere, but it just wasn't possible. Now that has completely changed. If we have an alligator that we feel that amusement, Gatorland, Gatorama, or any other place wants, we're able to live transfer it there, and they can live their life out as an exhibit. And believe me, they love that because they get fed and they don't have to compete against another alligator. Like she said, if you get an alligator here, if you see it during the day, call your master association. And at night, if he's on the property, walking down the road or somewhere, call your security. The master association is give them the authority to call us out. Kings Point falls underneath what we call a THA. It's a targeted harvest area. That means your master association does not have to call the state. They can call us directly to take care of any alligator issues. Like Julie said, some alligators just moving. If you've got an alligator and you walk up to him, he goes in the water, he's just an alligator. Why do we want alligators in Florida? Because they're very, very important to the ecosystem. That's why back in the 50s, the last of the 50s, our heritage, our residents, almost wiped them out to thousands. So now there's like 1.4 million alligators in the ecosystem. The Florida Wildlife Commission, who we work for, tries to keep that number up there. August 15th is coming up. There's going to be a hunt. This is the state and the federal government has realized that if you do not supply alligator products to the citizens, they will provide it themselves. So they have a hunt. We have a couple examples of alligators here. On some of this, you can come up and see it. It's just stuff that is made from there.
Purses, luggage. boots, shoes, and some of you may even have one of these little dog things. They're starting to make that stuff. So just lots of little accessories.
But anyway, people say, well, what about that? Well, we have to maintain a balance in the ecosystem. And it's really become an issue lately because everybody wants to move to Florida. So now we're building in swamps, places that weren't going to build in, so alligators move around, and it does that. I recommend, being a sixth-generation Floridian from Okeechobee, Florida, where is my hometown, never have your dog within 6 foot of any water. Why? Because he don't really want to eat the dog. He just don't like things that intrude in his area. He's a dinosaur. And so, and we're not fast enough. That alligator right here, this is a release down in Gatorama. He got out of the trailer. We had a rope, we had a pole. He got out of the trailer when we were trying to release him and decided he was going to go do his own thing, and he outrun us. But luckily we caught him there because we didn't want him released with tape in his mouth. All right, what we have here that Julie's going to bring around, I'm fixing to hold one, is these guys start out like this and end up like that. I need a piece of paper. You ain't got no cloth? No. Why am I getting the cloth? He might decide that it's time that he's gonna put something on me. But anyway, these alligators are ones that are usually what can be transferred, all right? As you see these alligators right here, I'll use this one as a head. They have 80 teeth. All right, 80 teeth. They go through about 3,000 in their lifetime. They just replace them. Their skull, probably most of y'all know that we have certain cracks in our skull that our skulls can give under pressure. They have, I just counted on the alligator we're working on right now, my son is, 24 cracks in his skull. That's so when he's in combat, his skull can give a little bit. His only enemy is another alligator and us. Hearing, they hear great, they see great. If you live on the water, he knows who you are. He knows what you smell like. He knows your vibration. And so he'll watch you. Remember, the water is his TV set. He's just watching you. And if he gets real used to you, he'll come within 20 feet because he knows you're not going to catch him. And that's one of the reasons we can determine a nuisance alligator immediately. If we show up and he goes in the water, then he's pretty much not a nuisance alligator. He's just an alligator. Now, if the Master Association wants us to pursue catching him out, we will pursue to catch him to do that. But to be nuisance to us is that somebody's fed him, he's used to humans, and I say you can touch him. He's just a lizard, but he's a dinosaur. Fossil documented in Florida, they say 200 million years. We are living the only place in the world where there's alligators and crocodiles, even though he was calling mama there for a second. Even though the alligators underneath the crocodilian species, which there's 24 of them in the world, we live in the only place where, he's Mike Shy. We live in the only place where there's crocodiles and alligators on the same continent. The American crocodile has not come back from when it was almost wiped out like the American alligator. The American alligator, there's about 1.4 million. There'll be less than that. The hunt starts August 15th through November 8th. And those people who have been lucky enough to draw a permit to catch alligators, they're going to remove some of them. That is population control, what they're doing. The state tries to keep the number at a certain count so the population can remain healthy. Also, that monies that come in, they use for the conservation of the alligators and other creatures. This guy here, see, he's real calm, but any second he could just like spurt and just take off. What we have here, here's his tail, he's steadily hollering. This is how he swims, right here. This is also his hands to get you to his jaws. That's why you see him do this a lot of times. This is one of the most dangerous places there is, right here. He has scoots on his back, little bumps, as you'll see as she brings it around. That's his solar cell. It has little blood vessels going in it all around, and he lays out in the sun to get warm because he's cold-blooded, but he can't get too much sun because he's rare. He has, like us mammals, he has a 4-chamber heart, which means he can stroke out in the heat. So he likes the heat, but he don't like too much heat. We've had this hot summer, like we did last summer, so the activity's been kind of down because they don't eat during the summer. And, you know, and people think, oh, he's eating up everything in a pond. A gator this size right here probably eats just a little more than a German Shepherd in a year. They have a miraculous digestive system that they store 60% of what they eat, and then the 40% comes out. I just had an alligator that had to go to a farm, and he decided he was going to defecate in my trailer, but it just looks like mud. So if you see anything on mud on a shoreline, do not step on it because it's sticky and it does stink and it takes a while to get it off. This guy right here can outrun me. Anything up to probably 7 foot, depends on how size, they can outrun me. They can outrun us. Now alligators are like us. Some of them 7 foot, thin. Some of them 7 foot, a little heavy like I am. You know, so, and it just depends on their environment, depends on what they have. They have personalities, believe it or not. They all act different. We have a trapper called Paul Bedard. He had a show called Gator Boys, and he works at the Holiday Park down south. And according to him, some of them you can train good, some of them you can't. Some of them have nasty attitudes, and some of them are trying to be gentle if you can be an alligator. The American alligator does not want to eat a human. He's not like the Nile crocodile. The Nile crocodile, humans are on his food list. The American alligator, usually how people get bit, is what happens is somebody's been feeding the alligator. Matter of fact, there's somebody I caught last year, alligator in Sun City, that the person had been feeding it. Video of him even letting it in his house. All right? So what he does is he's been used to being fed. His eyes are back here, and he'll open his jaws way bigger. And so as he's coming to the human, he's expecting food because he's been around a human that fed him. And the human don't give him food. And so he keeps coming to the human. And if the human stands still, as soon as his jaws touch that human, bam, they're closing automatically. He's got sensors all around here. He does not have to think about closing his jaws. That way he can be in zero visibility water and still be a hunting predator. I said they're very important, very, very important to the ecosystem. When some of our ancestors decided they're going to just kill them all, they found out you remove the king predator, the other predators is chaos. And why is that important in Florida? We do not have mountain spring water. The water you drink comes out of the ground or in the rain. So these guys, believe it or not, help keep the waterways stable and just their appearance and just their activity. So that's one of the reasons they are protected. How long do they live? The longest living alligator in record is at a place called Gatorama, where I carry big gators like that, which that bottom right picture is. They have one, he's almost 100 years old. Any questions? Now's the time to ask.
How does the anaconda and the alligator get along?
All right, the anaconda, the restrictor snakes. What happened was, I'll give you a little brief on that. We had a hurricane come through here. It was pretty devastating because it had multiple tornadoes in it called Hurricane Andrew. And what happened there was a constrictor breeding facility, had 80 bred constrictors. It got destroyed, literally destroyed. A lot of stuff did down Homestead. The powers that be said, oh, they'll just die from the cold. Well, they didn't. Their estimate is there's 1,000 to 100,000. The constrictor was wiping the alligator out because the alligators are not aggressive. And so how we catch them is, this is a good question, how we catch them is, I'm leading into that, how we catch them is we wear them out. People call it Indian wrestling because the Seminoles is the one who first started doing that. The Seminoles started catching them because they needed, as a food source, and because they have a 4-chamber heart, they would, as they deceased, they would get rot faster. So they would catch them and take them to the camp, and Coeur d'Alene started a farm. But now I'm getting records of the alligators are kind of fighting back at the snakes, all right? The snakes were killing the alligators because he'd wrestle them, he wouldn't try to kill them, and then he gets lethargic, out of breath, and they wrap around and get him. But they say now that some of the alligators are now doing, the alligator could kill the snake. He has 2,500 pounds crushing power. He could kill it right off, but he don't. So it's going to be an ever-ending battle, and they're all the way up to Kissimmee River, up to a place called River Ranch. That's how far the snakes have now come. And they have a hunt for that going on. If you want to go hunt a snake, you can put in for it. They have what calls hunt. Did that answer any of your questions? Sorry I went around the table with that. Yes, ma'am.
So, yeah, we do seem to keep having ongoing development down here. And how are they building something into the planning as far as how they're going to accommodate the alligators?
Ma'am, that's elected officials' question, but as far as I can tell you, the only plan is no plan. Just that there's 103 of us trappers assigned to areas and their agents, and we're assigned to areas. And so if you during the day from 0800 to 1700, you call SNAP in Okeechobee, Florida. From 1700 to 0800 at night, you call law enforcement. But here, you call your security at night, or during the day, you call your master association, and they take care of that all here, which is really easier for us.
I've seen white alligators. Are there any wild white alligators around here?
All right, what you've seen, actually a farmer has figured out a way to breed an alligator that has white colored pigment. They don't last long in the wild. They're like the black sheep, the other ones will kill them. And there's rare, very, very rare if one's caught. And the reason why, actually, underneath all this color, he's white. He's white. If you were to take and skin him, his outer color, and let it come off, it's like our epidermis, he will be white under there. When they process it, that's what they do. They use chemicals to remove this outer layer, and he'll be white. And when I talked about their temperature and their heart, I was catching one somewhere down here in Baum, and it was hot, and he was in a new subdivision, and he just wouldn't cooperate, and he wouldn't slow down where I could get close enough to tape him. His hide actually began to slip off, and you could see he was white underneath it. Finally, we got him in the vehicle trailer, and we got water on him. But when they take it, the white, what they do is whenever they process it, to get a boot that looks like this costs a lot more than a boot that's colored. Because the place that does it all is a place in Sebring, Florida, is a tannery, and it takes months if you send a hide there for them to fix it, and they can make it any color you want. And the alligator hide is one of the toughest hides there is, and that's another reason they're protected, because people like to get them to make stuff out of them. Any other more questions? Nope. Huh? But has everybody seen the alligator now that Yeah, you know what? I'm afraid of them too. The only time I've ever been bit is one by this size.
Hibernation, like, do they hibernate down this far?
All right, he's asking about hibernation. They do a thing called brumation. Reptiles do. And what they do is, thank you for asking that question, it's very important. During the winter in Florida, you can get closer to an alligator than any other time because he's in a brumation stage, which means he's trying to stay warm because it's cold, all right? And he may be on the shore, and he may let you walk up within 2 to 3 of him because he's saying there, I don't want to get in the water, I don't want to get in the water, stay away, I don't want to get in the water, stay away. And he'll stay there as long as he can, then he'll burst off. What they do is, we're subconscious breathers. We don't have to think to breathe. He's a conscious breather. He has to think to breathe, so he never really sleeps. Part of his brain shuts down, and while he's on this side, and then part of his brain shuts down on the other side. Documented can stay underneath the water over 6 hours. And so they don't eat. The closest real place that takes care of the alligators in a natural way is Busch Gardens. They stopped feeding their alligators right around Thanksgiving. And this year, if y'all don't notice, but me as a Floridian, we had a cooler spring. The bad thing when Florida has a cooler spring, she has a hotter summer. And so they didn't start feeding theirs till almost April because he needs warm weather to digest his food because he's cold-blooded. Did that answer your question? Oh yeah, they're nice when their mouth's taped up. Who? Somebody had a question I didn't see?
In the back. I'm coming over.
Yeah, he's very soft.
Yep. Here's a mic. Here's a mic. Here's a mic. You can use this one.
Thank you. I think I know the answer to this question, but I just want to double check. Came across an alligator about the size that Julie's holding in the middle of the road the other morning when I was walking my dogs, and we just kind of kept going. Got away from the alligator. He wasn't doing anything, obviously, he didn't really care about us, but what if that were a bigger alligator in the middle of the road and I was walking my dogs? Obviously go away, but anything, other tips or whatever you could share with us on how do I handle an encounter?
Don't let your dog get near the alligators, the first thing I'll tell you. Because I don't know if you noticed, the smaller the dog, the more powerful he thinks he is. And so, but again, during the day, when they're open, you call the Master Association, and then they'll call us, and they know how important alligators are to this ecosystem where y'all are at. At night, you just call your security because they have given them the authorization. Because sometimes I come out and catch alligator at night, but the security, most people don't even know we were out here. We did have one last year that we were trying to catch, had us by casting on it with a treble hook, and the line broke because there was some debris in the water. 2 nights later, we get a call from security, gate security, that one of the rovers has a gator in the middle of the road and he won't move. Well, when we go there, my son was with me, and we get there and he said, Dad, that's the gator we were trying to catch because he's got a hook in his back. So he eventually decided to move. Why do alligators move around? One, the big guy that's in the pond says, you're out of here. This is my area. If you don't bow down to me, I'll kill you and leave. And 2, to keep their DNA strong, they get this little thing in their mind that says, go here, go somewhere else. The bad thing is, in Florida, sometimes that somewhere else where he's going, where his great-grandpa was, is now a subdivision. And I've been to subdivisions before where they said, he's been walking around here for a week. And there was no water, so he didn't go any farther. His orders were to go to that location, and he stayed there. Other times, they'll move into whatever body of water or a swimming pool. All right, if you have a swimming pool, they're not going to tear the screen up to get in there. They don't do that. They're going to get in there because the screen is ripped on the bottom, doors open, or you got a doggy door. They don't just bust through screens. Now, when we go to catch them, they would try to bust out, but that's how they move around. And this is a nocturnal creature. Just because you see him during the day, it's like me and you walking around, watching TV at night, staying up late. That's like him, because he don't sleep very long like your pets. So, you know, they do that. But anyway, you can thank your Master Association. They do a great job of keeping y'all safe and doing keeping the balance of what should be there. Yes, sir.
Rob, what's the weapon of choice to kill them, and where's the kill spot when they have to be hunted?
All right. We'll start with a TV show. There's a TV show called Swamp People. All right. And what that is, that's in Louisiana. That's all on private property. All right. Those canals that they're in were dug in the 20s and prospecting for oil. That's why you'll see gates and pump valves and stuff there. They can shoot and do anything because it's private property. All right. And but they have to kill the alligator before they bring him on the boat. We use a cast line or bait, and if he does going to be dispatched at the processor, if I have to set a trap, he cannot go anywhere but to a processor because he has a hook inside of him. Not that it's going to kill him, but if he gets around other alligators, they're going to sense he's wounded and they're going to kill him. And so the kill spot is right here. Right where my stake is, my catch pole is, right behind his eyes, is where he has no scoops and he has no anything. And I use a 22 long rifle pistol and just do that. And I do that at the processor. But me and Julie, we live capture the alligators. So, because you don't know where he's going and don't know what's going on. People say, where's he going? I don't know till I got him in my paperwork system. I have no idea. All I know is he's not going here, he's going with me. Any more questions?
We have an alligator on my block the last 3 weeks that's been crossing the street back and forth. Has also been known to come up to front doors and up the driveway like mine a couple of times. I haven't seen it, but everybody is telling me that it's there. It's about an 8-foot alligator. I know there's a pond on either side behind the house, and it's probably going from one to the other. I've gotten to the point where before I take my little dog for a walk, I kind of stick my head out and look around. Is there anything you can suggest?
Well, I can suggest you do what you're doing, because you got to remember, people, we live in a tropical paradise, but it also has tropical creatures, and that's the American alligator. And the alligator, he needs so much area for him to grow. They're eco-sizable. I'll get to your question, but you make me roundabout to another question. They do not outgrow their environment. There's a place called Croc Encounters, and they used to have an alligator that they got from somebody who couldn't keep it no more. He was this long, 27 years old. He never grew. He only grew a little bit.
They were asking about these. I had to explain to some people that these are, they're not nuisance, they're educational, so they're under just different licensure. Anybody can have a pet alligator, by the way. You just have to go through all the protocol and bureaucratic stuff. And then FWC comes out ever so often periodically and checks the environment, makes sure, you know, that they're being housed properly and everything, and I don't get a citation. But they're kept in a 4-foot aquarium in my dining room. Why not, you know? So, you know, FWC officers borrow them. Rob and I take them to different places for, you know, Great American Teach-In, some here today, everything like that. So they're housed like that. And they're probably 4 to 5 years old, but they're not going to grow, like you said, any bigger than their environment. Now, if they were out in an open area, in a pondy kind of situation, then they'd grow and get, you know, big. But he's in an enclosed kind of environment, so he's not going to grow. They eat pretty good. Every 2 weeks, I give them a big hunk of meat and cut it like marble size, and they gobble it down. You don't have to feed them every day. It's another thing people think that gators eat daily. Big gator's eating like that one. He'll eat like once a month. That's all he wants, you know, and then he's good for a while.
And so what's happening probably with your alligator, he's using the 2 ponds as his water surface area. So that gives him the ability to grow larger. And he's gonna move. We call it the gator's in transit. Usually if he's in transit, we don't mess with him. He's going somewhere, whatever. And like I said, if he's at your front door, you know, you got your master association, and then you got your security at night, which they do a great job. I've been called out. They stay with the alligator because, believe it or not, I'm there catching the alligator at 2 o'clock in the morning, and somebody stops their car and gets out and wants to get a picture beside the alligator. The only time you can get a picture beside the alligator is when the jaws are taped. But, you know, that's between the association and you. If they think it's a problem, you just let them know. But you always want to be careful at night, not just because of alligators. This is Florida. We have snakes, and we have snakes that don't even belong here. And I can tell you that because the place that I used to hunt, there was a black mamba out there. He was out there, and everybody kept following, and we got FWC, law enforcement out there, and finally they told us they fall out of the airplanes as they let their landing gear down, and that's how they do there. And my son, who's a pilot at Lakeland, and he works at Lakeland Linder Airport, they had a plane come in from down south, and right when it was doing the touch by, it let its landing gear down. A iguana fell out on the ground. He lived on the airport for about a week, but it's a little hotter up here than it is down there, and the heat finally got him. Somebody else with another question here? Did I miss? I don't want to miss you. Don't tell me when. I love talking about alligators, so I don't shut up. It's a great show.
We got a little alligator in the pond behind me, and he was in the culvert, and he seen me, went back in the culvert.
That's what he's supposed to do.
Yeah, I don't know, his head was maybe that long, you know. I couldn't see the rest of his body.
Probably could be 5 foot. The American alligator is naturally afraid of us. We're so blessed with that. The American crocodile is totally different. The American alligator, you feed him, he's going to come to you. The American crocodile, which is bigger and more powerful, is more passive. Even though it's so big, it's like a big burly somebody. It never messes with somebody. It intimidates people, but it doesn't do like this guy pursuing people for food. Yes, ma'am.
So these little guys that you're showing us are stunted because of their environment. And so there's 3 or 4.
They're not that old. They're not that old. They get rotated out.
Okay, so if they were then put into a bigger environment, they would continue to grow even though they're older?
They grow about 1 foot a year after birth, all right? And that's subject to be different because I don't know if y'all notice, you know, I got grandkids. Some of my kids, all my boys are taller than I am, and I'm 6'3". So we put stuff in the water that has affected the wildlife. So sometimes it's not really easy for us to tell how much it grows because they ate something like there. They had an incident just recently in Alabama where the drug house, they were dumping the stuff in the water, the scraps, and the alligators were getting high and getting aggressive. So, you know, they're just like us. Yes.
This is for them. I'm just wondering, do you have a policy about alligators for Kings Point in terms of their treatment, or who do we contact if we see some idiot feeding a wild alligator or taking their grandkids down for a picture?
You can call Kathy at the Master Association. We recommend that if you see somebody feeding an alligator, you can report that, because as far as I know, it's illegal to feed an alligator up to a $5,000 fine. So just be careful, like he says, watch your little puppy, because I'm sure they like a little delicacy once in a while.
And if everybody's got a camera now, that's why we've learned so much about even alligators, because there's so much footage. Take a video of whoever's doing it, because what will happen is FWC law enforcement, some of you know them as game wardens, they're state law enforcement officers. They're over every body of water that maintains water 365 days a year, even if it's on private. You said I've had enough. Even though it's on private property, take a video. Take a video, so whether you report it to them and they report it, so that way when the officer comes out, he can give them a stern warning. They're usually pretty because a lot of people don't know. But the reason it's important is that person feeds the alligator loses its fear. And we have a thing called Alzheimer's and dementia and stuff that goes on, and somebody like that they may go up and just touch the alligator. Floor slick. He's coming to somebody over here.
And if I could just add, if you guys call Kathy and you report that you think someone is feeding an alligator, we are taking that very seriously, and we've purchased some little field cameras. So if you report it, we're gonna try to put those up somewhere where they can't really be seen, and if we catch you, we will report you to FWC.
Thank you very much. That was a very good presentation, and thanks again for coming. Okay, we've had, I know Jim, our president, is up in Boston with his family. There's a lot of things going on in Kings Point that upset a lot of people. We had a person on a motorized scooter get hit by a car. When was that, George? Yesterday. I had a person tell me that I'm a golf cart, I don't need to stop at a stop sign. The Master Association is working with our attorney to come up with a statement that even though they're private roads, you have to obey the traffic rules. Golf carts, when you're in a single lane road, I would stress to stay in the middle. The statute gives you that lane. If you pull over to the side and let somebody go by and they go back in front of you and hit you, that's not going to be good. Stay in the middle of the lane, and it's mainly where there is a double line, the King's extension over by the vehicle storage. That's a single lane. You're entitled to that whole lane for your safety, okay? The crosswalks are there to protect the pedestrians. I've seen people with a pedestrian in there just drive right by. If you want to pull over and let cars by, try it at an intersection where you've got a place to go on the road. Let them by. That happened this morning. And if you ever see me, I got a white Honda and I give a double beep, that's a thank you for moving over into that other road, not onto the sidewalk. Okay, so, but be careful out there. You see it all the time. Yesterday, I came up to the office and I followed a lady doing 45 miles an hour right up to where the first speed bump is, in a gray Cadillac with a black top. So if you are the lady that can barely see over the steering wheel with a white with a white Cadillac and a black top, would you please slow down, because you know that red light's going to be there. Okay, so All right. Anybody on the board have anything? Gentlemen? Okay, open forum. Come to the mic, please. If you got anything you want to talk, you want to complain, you want to ask a question, whatever you want to do. Hearing none. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you very much for coming. Enjoy your hot day.